And here we are. Another day of discussing games and talking about
Oh,
stuff with Joe
well,
Raptor and
you
Luke.
make it sound very exciting.
Yeah. When in
Oh,
reality,
another day.
yeah.
Oh, talking about games
Oh
again.
God, I get to
Our
make a
lives suck.
living doing my
Yeah.
like actual dream. Damn
Oh
it.
my god.
uh
I mean, to be fair, looking at your channel, Skull and Bones,
yeah.
Suicide Squad, like you do choose your favorite games out. I see it.
Yeah. It's been a bit of a misery thing for the last
You wanted
week.
to, yeah,
It's
hurt
okay.
yourself.
Tequila
You don't.
helps a lot.
Okay.
No.
Sponsored by this Skull and
Sponsored
Bones
by
video is sponsored by
yeah, Jim Beam got me through this.
Tequila.
But yeah, we are here everyone today to discuss a handful of things. The biggest stuff is of course the lead up to Summer Game Fest and
Yeah.
of course the PlayStation showcase, which is, well, it's not really a showcase,
Oh,
it's a state of play.
no, yeah. People are gonna get angry if you do.
Yeah,
Showcase.
yeah, because it's not that. It's
No.
the step below that.
Yeah, it's 30 minutes of PSVR 2, PS5 games, and first looks at new PlayStation Studios game coming later this year.
Yeah, it's I'm we just talked about it on stream before this. I'm trying to help people like maybe lower expectations a tad, and I think that's what PlayStation is doing by having it as a state of play instead of as a full showcase.
Yeah,
Because
and announcing it one day before.
yeah,
not, like if you're like proud of it, you probably will
hype
be
it
like,
up.
hey, come
Yeah,
watch it. I
and
don't think that works though. I don't think that works. I don't think people are like, oh no, let's lower my expectations. There will probably be people in the chat. GTA 6, let's go.
yeah, and I like straight up, I don't think the average quote unquote gamer that's going to see this pop up on their YouTube feed or TikTok feed, whatever, I don't think they will grasp the difference and the subtleties between state of play and showcase. They're just like, oh, Sony's announcing stuff. Bloodborne
Yeah.
2, here we go. And I
And
don't think we see that.
And to be fair, they just haven't had a great show in a long time. You would hope that inside Sony they would be like, let's knock people's socks off again, like we used to, right? Because last year's showcase was pretty lackluster. It was like a state of play plus because it was an
Yeah.
hour instead of 30 minutes. Like I hope that they're like, okay, we don't have the goods yet. Like we have a PlayStation 5 Pro that we want to launch later in the year. Let's do a big like event around that because we want to get people more hyped for the future and try to like push them to buy this new console. So yeah, having then a game like Ghost of Tsushima 2 or the new Naughty Dog IP that would really sell consoles. Well, right now they're like, we have some partners that they're gonna show stuff at Summer Game Fest. We need to have a stage for them. We also have some 2024 games that we are maybe launching before we want to do this big PS5 Pro event. And maybe people at LA, of course, yeah, there will be like the play days from Summer Game Fest as well, where you can get hands-on with stuff. We need to announce it beforehand, so that could probably be the reason why they're doing this instead of bringing out the big guns. But yeah, it's kind of sad, especially because Xbox, and we're going to talk about that a bit as well. I do think they're going to bring the big guns. Like they obviously are kind of in a interesting position with them just closing 4 studios. Hellblade 2 came out and nobody's talking about it anymore. It's wild. Even at the end of last week, I was like, I still see some people post pictures and they look beautiful. But I'm just not, I don't know if this was what they planned when they bought that studio 8 years ago or 7 years
Yeah.
ago, whatever.
I mean, the thing with Hellblade, kind of the lingering effect of it, I think is, looking back on it, I think it's much more clear that this was a game that they probably put together in about 2.5 years. I think that it seemed like
Really?
it was 7, because basically what happened, we know it's a very small team, and we know that they did whatever Bleeding Edge, Blood Edge, I think Bleeding Edge is what it is. And that released
the
it was
live service one.
their flop of a live service game, and they worked on that for about a year after it launched, and then they launched it I think March of 2020, shut down support in January of 21, And so then they start revving up to full production of Hellblade. They, of course, already announced it and put that out there, but they entered full production shortly after that. And that times out to like just a few years of full production on the game. And that makes much more sense when you see how much content is actually there. This was not a team of 500 people and there were 100 on the live service, 400 on Hellblade 2. This was like there were like 5 to 10 people on Hellblade, everyone else working on the live service. That flops, and so then they all reroute and start doing Hellblade stuff. And then
When was Bleeding Edge? Because
March of 2020 until January of 21.
yeah, but they announced Hellblade 2 in
December of 19, I think.
Yeah, so they have been like on paper working on it for a long time. You're saying that after Bleeding Edge came out, that's when they moved all those people?
That's my understanding. And it could be
Oh,
that
okay.
maybe they had a separate group working on the live service thing, and then I mean, who knows? We'll probably find out.
I
In the
don't
future,
know.
but
Like whatever happened, the reality is they bought this studio for a ton of money, and they now released 2 games that did not move the needle. And like the Steam charts, like you would hope that a game with I think the budget was likely 3 times, 4, maybe, I don't know, 5 times the budget of the first game. It
Yeah.
did less on Steam. Obviously, it's on Game Pass, but still, you would hope it would at least reach those 5,000 concurrent that Hellblade 1 has. It did not. I'm happy that, like, I see a lot of people celebrating the game, and I agree. Like, it's cool that a studio like Microsoft gives this team all the resources. Go make your own game. But releasing it and seeing the sort of divide. I remember when the first Hellblade came out, and sure, it was not for everyone, but there was way more. People were overall way more on the positive side, in my experience, from what I remember for it. And that's what caused a lot of people to try it out and give it a shot and, yeah, enjoy it as well. And yeah, now it kind of feels like it will come and go and we won't talk about it anymore. Maybe it will have a nominee for best visuals or whatever at the Game Awards, but or art direction. I don't know, man. It and they're gonna make a third game. Like what? There's no management. Like if you're basically giving these people like figure it out. We're throwing money at you. Go figure it out. And clearly they can't really figure it out. Like how is it possible that the puzzles are not improved? The combat has been improved, but not really.
yeah, and I
Like it
think a
looks
lot of it
really
is
cool.
significantly worse. Like it feels like a
Yeah.
step down in a lot of ways, which is what I was so frustrated by it. But I mean, I think it mainly just comes down, like you said, to mismanagement. There are no clear expectations. Like with Sony, it's pretty clear. We want high Metacritic scores. We want to be the destination for universally acclaimed games. That's what we should be. When people think of the best games, they should be on PlayStation. Full stop. That's what we're doing. And that's a clear directive, right? You know what you're doing at that point. We're chasing quality first and foremost, no matter what. With Xbox, it's different. With Xbox, it's like, well, we're chasing that, but even if you do like a Tango Gameworks Hi-Fi Rush, you could still be shut down. So maybe it's more about hours played, but that doesn't make sense with a game like Hellblade. So like nobody really knows what the goal is, because you can be critically acclaimed and still get shut down. You could have a ton of players but still face mass layoffs and stuff. It's just not really clear what Xbox is expecting of their games, and
Yeah.
it's not clear for the devs, and it's not clear for the gamers that are in the Xbox community either. Like we don't really know what Xbox is the home of other than Game Pass, which offers a better bang for the buck in terms of spending in gaming, but is that really what you can build an entire brand around? I'm not so sure, frankly.
And what's crazy that to me is that in what world would you keep this studio over Tango? Like, I do think that Hi-Fi Rush or giving that team maybe a crack at something new, I think makes more sense than making Hellblade 3. Like, if the sort of it seems that the first one was more popular than the second one, even though it was on Game Pass, or at least I saw it was like a pretty big moment when that game came out,
Mhm.
and now we will not talk about it probably in the next week, and I already see way less people talk about it. So what is the plan? Why make the third game? I don't know. And for example, here, Hi-Fi Rush reached 2 million people pretty soon after launch, like a month. Like probably Hellblade will reach that as well, I would hope. But this game was like a surprise. It was not like a really anticipated sequel that you revealed with your console. So I just don't see a world where Ninja Theory can keep going, spend probably way more money on their games versus a Tango that gets shut down. So
I
I
mean,
know a lot. I know people said, "Hey, the new game is already greenlit and blah blah blah." I don't believe Ninja Theory is sadly safe. I just don't see what they could bring to the Xbox future, and it's really sad to say that.
yeah, it doesn't seem to jive with what the rest of the goals are, which is like membership signups and pulling exclusives and stuff like that. Like it just doesn't seem to do much of that. And maybe what it is that this was their version, like this was their Redfall in a certain way, where they were like, let's just get this out the door and then we'll start fresh under Microsoft's banner, and we'll fully, design something from the ground up to be our like Naughty Dog style game, to just really start taking a crack at that nut. And maybe that's the strategy, maybe that's the plan, is that it's just Hellblade 2 was ideated and designed initially to be much smaller in scope and scale, and that worked well for showcasing visual fidelity in 2019 and 2020, but didn't really come together for a full game. And so maybe now they're just like, let's go to the drawing board and start from scratch and do something really groundbreaking. And maybe, I mean, but that's what we thought was happening with Hellblade
Yeah.
2. So
Yeah, why do we have to try this again? Like Hellblade 2 looks like a launch game. Like it looks like a hey, let's show off this piece of technology, but we're now in the 4th year of this console and we're getting it. And yeah, it's just not really good enough, sadly. Um but we will see. I mean, we heard rumors that they were looking to cut more, and yeah, Bethesda has now, like the other studios have survived, at least for now. Let's look at your own portfolio, like from the Xbox Game Studios. And again, like what are you looking to get out of this studio apart from a third game? They made another game that flopped. Like I don't know, man. We will see. I hope for the best, of course, but looking at it from a realistic lens, I just don't see how even like Redfall, like they made one misstep because they were kind of forced to make that type of game. Ninja Theory got all the resources they needed to make the game they wanted, and this is what they released. And again, a lot of people are liking it, and I'm happy for them. But it should have been like a huge win. It should have been this moment for Xbox to be like, "See, this is what we're building towards too." But this game just shows you once again that their hands-off approach, because they have way too many studios. They can't go like, even I think at PlayStation right now, Herman Hulst, who's like overseeing everything, already probably has a very hard time going to see everything. But I do feel that those teams are way more hands-on because they know that if they release something, people are expecting a certain type of quality. And with Xbox, it's really a coin flip. And maybe they're
yeah.
like, we can't like manage all these studios. People will not even buy the game anyways. It's just like a nice image that we can put on subscribe to Game Pass right now, so we have like another image to put there. But it should be way more, especially if you spend so much money on this team.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's just unfortunate that well, actually that's a good point. IQ, I see your comment on YouTube. Bleeding Edge was their Redfall. That's unironically, I guess, the case. But this is, it changes how you see Bloodborne, Jesus, Freudian slip there, I guess. It changes how you see Hellblade 2 when you look at it through that lens. If you were to think of this as like the first game after Redfall for Arcane Austin, or the first game after Fallout 76 for BGS, it's like it can be tough to come back from something like that. Not only is team morale, I'm sure, extremely low. Like, it wasn't that you put something out and, oh, some people loved it, but it just didn't sell that well. It's like, no, it was universally like panned and people really didn't like it. So I'm sure you lose some pride in the studio and stuff like that when that type of thing happens. And I think that reframes the whole thing. But we'll see what happens with it. But it was always going to be a flash in the pan. Even if it was a 10 out of 10, we knew it was going to be smaller. And even if it was 10 to 15 hours, the way that Microsoft's business is set up with Game Pass, that only does so much. Like even Starfield, which is a huge game, even that game can only really drive the narrative for a month, maybe. And then they need something else to drive signups and to drive memberships. And it just doesn't really go.
Yeah, but did
there.
this game do it? I'm really curious. I think most people were already either subscribed to Game Pass or did not bother anymore because they heard like mixed things about it. That's at least what I think. I also see, by the way, on True Achievements, I'm not sure. I think you have to be like an account on this website to and then the achievements can like kind of count. I see that 15% seemingly finished the game. Or 25% for this like 6-7 hour game.
I'd wonder when they start counting it. Like, do they count from the moment you boot it, or because I would imagine a lot of people just installed Hellblade because there was the picture
91 survived the shipwreck. So that's like 91%. Okay. So that's like the first thing you get.
I did see this. I'll share this on screen, and for everybody listening, it is a post from Tom Warren. I hadn't seen this because I hadn't booted up my Xbox since this happened, but Microsoft is now displaying a Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 full screen ad after your Xbox boots. It's a one-time pop-up, and it shows even if you've already played the game, and you can just close it if you don't want to see it, and then it never pops up again. But this is, I mean, one of the things they're going to keep doing to push people to download the game. And like what they did with Starfield, they create a unique background to the Xbox launcher and stuff like that. And that's a good subtle way of advertising for your big games. But
yeah, for sure. I think that's fine. Yeah, if you don't do it for every game, I think it's fine. Like for a Hellblade, I mean, they probably got the numbers. Like, I think nobody is like selling their Xbox because they see this ad. Yeah. So I don't think that's that big of an issue. And if it helps to, I mean, that's like that's the cheapest marketing to the people that actually are able to play that game.
Mm-hmm. That's why, like, as a platform, having a platform is so valuable.
Yeah,
that's so much free advertising, like right then and there. And
and that's why it's like interesting that they're kind of seemingly moving away from Xbox while they just don't realize what they have with that, right? That is your most dedicated audience that will play all the games. I mean, they're kind of like captive on your platform. When they buy a game, you get 30%. Like, that's huge. And yeah, they are seemingly moving away from that by giving more games to the competitor.
I think they've just accepted they don't know what they're doing, and they don't know how to keep people on the platform. Because every year, like, Sony's margin is just getting bigger and bigger. Sony's just dominating more and more. So it seems like they finally just been like, screw this, we're going home. Yeah.
And with like GTA 6, like then a lot of people are gonna, like a lot of new people are gonna decide which platform to play on. So you better have like a good case for Xbox, and they probably won't. So
it's crazy. Like GTA 6, I do think, as you just alluded to, will drive a lot of the foundational purchasing decisions for like next generation, for all of this. Like whoever can dominate GTA 6's launch and GTA Online and that launch is going to be set up to really dominate starting in the next gen. If I were Xbox, I'd put all other acquisitions on hold, and I'd be going to Take-Two, and I would be cutting them a blank check if we can be like, you know, how PlayStation did with all these games like Hogwarts Legacy, where all the trailers had the PlayStation logo at the end. So a lot of people thought it was exclusive, and it wasn't. Microsoft should be doing that with GTA 6 if they want to
Yeah, I
stand a
think
chance.
Sony had those at least for like the GTA 5 Definitive
I think
Edition, and
so,
I
yeah.
think they had like a bundle for PS3 with GTA 5. That's how old the game, of course, is.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I mean, the Series S is of course a great like if a game runs good on the Series S, like that's of course huge to be like the lowest entry point for that game. Maybe they're gonna use that as like a nice thing. And maybe if it's launching at the end, I mean, that's what they're saying, fall 2025, you launch it with the new Call of Duty. You say, hey, get the Series S, you get a month of Game Pass, you have both GTA and Call of Duty. That's not bad. That's a pretty
Mm.
good thing they could do.
Yeah. I think they got more dollars than cents, let's just say it that way.
Yeah. But
So,
the thing seems to be that Microsoft is kind of over the fact that they don't want to spend anymore. They finally want to see a return,
yeah.
and and that's kind of where the issues are coming from. And it's gonna be fascinating. We of course learned Black Ops 6 coming day one the Game Pass. Like everyone is gonna look at that with a very very close eye. Like what is that going to do? Maybe it's a bit unfair because I don't think people are gonna sell their PS5s so they can play Black Ops 6 for cheaper. And especially if you are that hardcore, you're likely going to play that game for months. So then in the end, it's cheaper to buy the game. It will still be very interesting if the dialogue, the narrative will happen, right? Where people are saying to each other, oh yeah, you have to buy the game for $70. I can just subscribe for 1 month. I'm playing the campaign or zombies anyways for 1 month, and then move on to something else I want to do. It's gonna be interesting if that's really moving the needle for them.
I
Um,
think, and maybe I'm in the minority with this, I think putting it on Game Pass is actually going to do them a lot of favors, because I think the whole goal, it's a long-term play. Like short-term this year, yeah, they'll probably have lower revenue than if they just launched it $70 on Xbox. But their goal is to get people into the habit where if you want to play Call of Duty, just have your Game Pass subscription active. And because human psychology is weird, it feels better to only pay $15 for the month because you're not spending 70 for that month. And then if they play the game every month for a year, they've definitely spent way more than if they just bought the game outright. But because humans, our monkey brains work weird, it feels better to just do the monthly subscription. So
yeah,
maybe they'll offer, more bundles there's been speculation about that. They'll offer, a year plan and you save some money that way.
yeah.
But
I mean, maybe with Game Pass you get the battle pass, or you get like an exclusive outfit or whatever as well for Call of Duty, which would be pretty huge. And another thing, of course, like if you play a game like that with friends, then you're used. Like that's what I hear in all the investor calls. Like EA is saying that a lot. Like we really see that when people are playing something together, they spend way more time in those games. And by lowering the entry point for to say, hey, come play Call of Duty with me. Oh, I haven't played it in a while. I don't want to buy the game. You don't have to. You can just subscribe for $15 and
mhm.
play together. I mean, that might help in the long run as well. On the other hand, though, it's you are removing the one of the only games on Xbox that people are still buying. And that is of course the bad trend that we were talking about earlier. Like these people on Xbox are never like they're not gonna get used to buying games anymore. Like they're just why would I? I have Game Pass and I'm not like buying maybe not the best example, but I'm not like buying movies while I have a Netflix subscription. I'm just gonna go to Netflix. I mean,
Right. But I
they are
think
already
I think
Sorry.
you're precisely right. Like, I think Call of Duty is the one group of people that's probably still buying that as opposed to getting it through subscriptions. But I think the types of people that are playing Call of Duty and are buying the $70 version, not just playing Warzone, we're talking about the people that are playing multiplayer, they're buying the $70 version or more. That's their game. Like they play Call of Duty and that's their game. Just like Madden, FIFA, those types of players, that's their game. This is the one game that they really play a lot. And I've got plenty of friends, I'm sure we all do, where the game they play is Call of Duty. Every night they get home from work and they play however many rounds. And so for Xbox, they stand to make a whole hell of a lot more money off of those people if they can get them accustomed to paying for the subscription fee instead of paying a one time a year thing in cash up front. So for Xbox, the biggest benefit long term, when you look at year over year, would be if they can get $15 a month from a million people, and then the other million on Xbox, however many it is, goes and buys it for full price. And the next year, for the next release, maybe another 100,000 change from buying it outright to using the subscription. And that could lead to Game Pass subscription growth right there, but also higher revenues, because again, those people weren't buying other games, they were just buying Call of Duty and spending money in microtransactions and stuff. They'll still use microtransactions, but now they're paying $15 a month for a year, and like Microsoft's just writing that all the way to the bank. I think a lot of people are getting caught up on the idea that Game Pass, because it's included in the subscription, therefore it's free, and that's not how that works. You're still paying $15 a month for the subscription. Yes, it includes a ton of stuff, but we're talking about digital copies. Like, it doesn't cost them any more to distribute it. Their goal is to build a library that appeals to some people, or have the one game that you care about that they have you hook, line, and sinker. And so I think
mean, Call of Duty is the best game because it is supported for so long, and then when the support ends, a new one is already there. So
yeah, I just think it's short term gonna hurt, but long term, I think that this will be a mainstay, and that this is going to end up being a big growth driver for Game Pass. And that's all they really care about. Like, yeah, they don't care if the COD gamers are playing Hellblade. They don't care, because they're still paying $15 a month. Like,
yeah, and what we're also seeing with subscriptions, what every company is saying, and why Ubisoft is also like, an investor was like, why, if I go to the Star Wars Outlaws page to purchase the game, it says this edition is $130, or you can buy it, or for $18 you can also just play the game with that Ultimate Edition for $18 a month. Like, that looks like an amazing deal, and that's of course what they want. But yeah, that's a huge money difference. And Ubisoft's like, for one said, we want to make sure that we can get every consumer, because some people would never play our games if we did not give them this subscription option. And what they're also saying is, to get people into the door and to buy the subscription, like, the moment they're on, they are checking other Ubisoft series as well that they normally would never check out. And that's maybe what can happen with Microsoft games as well. That, I mean, that was always the sort of cool thing with the last Xbox shows. Even if the games, not all the games are for you, I can play every one of them with my Game Pass subscription. And maybe when Fable comes out, it can be way bigger, because the subscription base, thanks to Call of Duty, is way larger. So way more people will actually try the game and maybe enjoy it, while otherwise they would have never turned an eye to it. So I think that's another point to look at it. That's, what we're not seeing. Like, they are really seeing, if people are subscribing, they want to like get the most out of their money, and maybe they don't like Call of Duty for like they've been getting killed left and right. They're like, I don't want to play Call of Duty. Let's see what else is on Game Pass. And then they might, hey, Gears is actually cool. I used to play that. Whoa, there's a new one out, etc., etc. So it's gonna be fascinating to see what happens. And it's at least a big play, and they needed this for a long time. But if it's not working out, though, then it does feel like this whole gamble that they made, the biggest gamble they made, it's like only hurting them more with people like just leaving the Xbox platform, because you can also just subscribe to the PC Game Pass. Call of Duty is there as well. Why would I need an Xbox?
Yeah, it's fundamentally, it's just, at the end of the day, Xbox is not doing what they've done for decades, and I think it's really proving difficult for a lot of people to grasp. They do not really care about Xbox hardware. They care about software. That's what they distribute. That's where they make their money. That's what Microsoft is really good at. Every time Microsoft has tried hardware, it's a mixed bag. Like, we all remember, or maybe we don't, the Windows Phone. Like, they poured billions of dollars into the Windows Phone and went nowhere with it. That was in like the mid to late 2000s. So that's tens of billions in modern money. So, Microsoft has tried hardware and they've always struggled with it. But what they don't struggle with is software. That's why they're a $3 trillion company. And so they're pivoting from approaching the gaming industry in the traditional way that PlayStation has and PlayStation's dominated with. And they just finally, I think, said, instead of playing a losing game, let's just make our own game and win at it. And it's pretty straightforward. We just distribute software and we make money on the software. And that's what they're doing. And they insist Game Pass is currently profitable. I don't know what the accounting looks like. I don't know if that just means, yeah, our maintenance costs to keep the Game Pass launcher up are profitable compared to the subscription. Like, you'd hope so. I don't know if that includes all the development.
Guys are very cheap.
Yeah, very cheap. We don't really know exactly how the math breaks down, but they're taking in hundreds of millions of dollars a month from current subscriptions. And over the course of a year, that's billions of dollars of gaming revenue. And that's even if they aren't having like these big blockbuster God of War Ragnaroks or things like that. For Sony and PlayStation, if they don't have a big blockbuster, they don't really make much that year other than hardware sales where margins are really, really tight.
And third-party sales, of course, but still, that's totally right. Like that is also the move to live service. Why a lot of companies are chasing that. Like that's what we talked about with the Hellblade ad. Like if you get people in the game, it's way easier to sell them stuff, and the revenue you get from a skin in a microtransaction store, like the profit, is way bigger than marketing a God of War Ragnarok release that now take 5 years to make. So you can't really bank on that anymore. And that's, of course, why Sony is going in the live service direction way more as well. And yeah, but it has two sides. But I think the main thing just is that if the games from Xbox really delivered as well, like if more people on PlayStation would feel like they were missing out, and I still think to this day that that's not the case, then that this model would have worked even better, and then we would have gotten way more like details, like does the subscription model work? On one end it kind of works, but we have not seen the best of the best. Like if the Sony games were launching day one, maybe that would be a different story, and then we would see, whoa, people are actually subscribing way more. So I hope they turn it around, because the Xbox show could be very cool, but on the other hand, like looking at Hellblade, like looking at Starfield,
yeah, no, absolutely. Sorry everybody, it looks like we just had a dropout of the network. Says we're back. I'll wait till somebody says in chat that we're back. Yeah, I see.
We would have had some nice donations and stuff as well. Let's quickly go.
Let's touch on all these. Thank you everybody for the very generous contributions. First of all, sad Kermit. I keep hoping he'll feel better, but he's still just so sad. But thank you for the 10 gifted memberships on YouTube. That certainly made us feel much better. So hopefully you feel better too, Kermit. Justin, thank you for the 10. Personally, I'm looking forward to Black Ops 6 and AC Shadows this year. Those are my two big ones besides ongoing support to other games. Love the Free Roam podcast. I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you. And yeah, AC Shadows, we'll, I'm sure, talk about that plenty in the coming weeks, but I think if anybody is trying to dismiss that game because of a like to dislike ratio on a trailer, they do not realize how big Assassin's Creed is. Like, I think
is there a dislike ratio on the trailer? Yeah, I didn't even know that, but I'm not surprised. It's
like, I think there's like 250,000 likes and there's like 700,000 dislikes.
It's not that bad. It could be worse.
It's not that bad. In my opinion and my expectation, what it is large communities from certain streamers and
no, Asmo Gold said this is bad, so I have to dislike the trailer.
Yeah, when like they were never going to buy the game anyway, so I'm not putting too much weight in it, but yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be anxiously awaiting that. And then Justin, thank you for another 5. My guess is that Xbox will be Microsoft games in 5 years. I have a feeling that Xbox will be merged into Microsoft entirely. Well, I believe there was even where was it? There was like an end screen, a splash screen or something. Oh God. It was like one of the trailers, I think for the new Black Ops 6 trailer had it on it. And it at the very end had
Microsoft Gaming?
Yeah, it had like Microsoft as a logo flash on it instead of just the Xbox. Black Ops 6, and it was like people saw it, they're like, oh god, look. Let's see if I can find it. I'm not sure if I will be able to find it.
People are still
but-
saying the audio is cutting, but I'm looking at my own stream and it seems fine. So I'm not sure what's happening.
Yeah, I'm not sure. If we can keep an eye on it, if it continues to be a thing, we can maybe reconnect. Oh yeah, here it is. Here it is. So you can see during the live, or during this this trailer that they drop, they did the Xbox logo and then they warp forward to Microsoft. So they're actually putting Microsoft branding on the gaming stuff now instead of just Xbox, which I thought was an interesting
isn't that because
thing.
they also have the PC port? So maybe that's the reason that they don't want to have people be like, oh, it's only on Xbox Game Pass or whatever.
Maybe that's what they're
I don't
doing.
know.
I don't know. But it was an interesting thing. I don't remember them doing that for like any Hellblade trailers. So, you know, I thought it was interesting that they're splashing the Microsoft screen. I think it's probably because Call of Duty is big enough that like retail investors finding out that this is like, oh, it's a Microsoft again. What is happening? The network is all over the place. Let me check local outages. My goodness. I have a backup recording, so the actual upload of the podcast will be fine.
Okay.
But
Yeah, but it's weird. I'm seeing it as well.
Yeah, I'm not. Let me check. We do have rolling thunderstorms going through.
Yeah,
right
we're
now.
back again on stream.
I think what it is, fam, is that we have thunderstorms going through my area, and every time there's thunderstorms, the power companies try to help by disconnecting certain services, and stability just goes out the window. So I'm guessing that's probably what it is, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But we have the backup, so everybody that listens to this after the fact, I'll have Jacob cut this stuff out.
I was hoping you were in like a safe bunker, but that's not the case.
Dude,
Like,
I've thought of
gaming
getting
bunker.
like a Starlink or whatever, the like satellite
Oh
one.
yeah.
I've thought of getting that just because stability in this neighborhood is all over the place. Whenever there's any weather event, it goes out the window and it drives me crazy.
I totally get that.
Anyway, I think we're back. Make sure everybody refreshes if you're having trouble. I refreshed
we have another
an audio
donation,
fine, but I'm
and I
still
have
upset.
to.
Oh, yeah. Okay, Sumaya, thank you for the super chat. Let's hear it. He says, Jor, give me your Phil Spencer impression. Oh, here, full screen.
Welcome everyone today. It's an amazing time to celebrate games. We are not with Tango Gameworks and Redfall's development team anymore. Arcane Austin pulling one out for you, but we still are in the best moment for Xbox games. And we're gonna look at what our friends at id Software have been working on. This is the new Doom.
Check it out. I like that. That was pretty good. See, my Phil impression, now that I'm going to point something out. Now that I point this out, you're never going to be able to like unsee it because he does it all the time. What Phil Spencer does is he like is always framed weirdly far from the camera, and he kind of sticks his belly out and looks down.
Oh no,
his chin.
I only did audio.
Yeah, you only did audio.
Okay,
like,
yeah.
I would just be in the back. We're very excited to share the future of Xbox, and it's a great time to be a gamer. Check it out. And it's always like, are you a marionette? Are you like he's always moving in this weirdly fluid way. It's honestly like tantalizing if you really watch it carefully.
Yeah.
Sarah Bond impression, I don't know her well enough. You're fired, but I'm still amazing. You're welcome for me.
Matt Booty. I don't know what your studio is called.
Yeah,
you're fired.
My Matt Booty impression. What's going on? That's it.
And he was staring
at the wall, totally unaware of
wall.
what's going on.
Yeah. We have to fire more studios or like fire more people because I can't handle my job. we bought all these studios. Who would have thought? There are too many people now under me.
Yeah, I bit off more than I could
do you
chew.
think some people want us to talk about the PlayStation State of Play? That
Oh, sure. I think we could touch on this. We have some predictions. Now, when Joel Raptor said we should talk about the PlayStation thing, I was like, yeah, I want to do that because Joel Raptor is always right with his predictions. He's literally never been wrong. So everything he says today, everything he says is going to be true.
You can pitchfork me tomorrow. No.
So we'll run through this. We have some guesstimations and thoughts and things, and we'll throw them out there, and then tomorrow the event will happen and we'll be able to cross-reference and see how close we were. We'll also, if we have time, go through some Summer Game Fest predictions and stuff like that, which should be fun, and run through it.
I mean, for one, we have to say, of course, it will be a 30+ minute show featuring 14 titles. May 30th, maybe if you listen to this later, it has already happened, so you can laugh at us, see if we're right or wrong. Updates on PS5 titles, PSVR 2 titles, and a look at PlayStation Studio games arriving later this year. And that later this year is really a key here. That means Ghost of Tsushima 2, RIP, it's not happening right now because that game will not launch before April 2025. Death Stranding 2 will not be here. Fair Games, I know a lot of people were looking forward to that. Marathon, the Bungie game. So, like, I was really hoping that we would finally get a look at the future, but no, it's gonna be for the next coming months. And one of the things that has been heavily rumored is a new Astro Bot game, which coming this year. So that's likely gonna be maybe they will start with that or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's gonna be a quote unquote surprise. We all know that it's happening, but it's gonna happen. They still have the Until Dawn remaster remake for PS5 PC. I can totally, like, if they're gonna do a show later this year, which I think they are, like, and I'm like kind of manifesting it. I hope that this is not the only show that we get for PlayStation. Usually they do a State of Play in September as well around Tokyo Game Show. I hope that that's a showcase this time. Then they will reveal the PS5 Pro. I think that makes the most sense. I can see them save like Until Dawn for then, because maybe it's like an October release for Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to, like, in my mind, seeing that trailer, it looks exactly like I thought it would look. Like, that in my mind, it's like it looks the same. Well, what is different? I can now play it on PS5. That's new.
And then you go back and you look at the original, because I had the same reaction. I was like, what's different? And then you go back and you see the original footage and you're like, oh God, okay, yeah, no, they have improved it, but your memory has made it much better than it actually was. Yeah. So I agree. It's not the flashiest remake, but the side-by-sides are pretty clear.
And it's a cool game. Like a lot, like it was PS4 early generation. That was when Sony was just not as big as it is now. So a lot of people missed it, and I hope they give it a shot.
Yeah.
And I think if they are selling 1 million, they're already very happy with it. So, we might see that. Concord is like another sure bet. That's that game with the spaceship and the space hamburger, and that was like kind of the teaser trailer we saw last year. But it should still be out this year. It's the rumor suggests like Guardians of the Galaxy inspired in terms of maybe heroes, PvP, shooter, so colorful at least. We will see gameplay. I hope they do like a beta or whatever, so people can get their hands on it. That would be very good. And this game, we did not talk about it on the podcast yet. I know you're super excited. Lego Horizon Adventures.
Yeah. That's just what we need. Just what we need. Yeah,
I really...
Go for it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, they are doubling, tripling, quadrupling, quintupling, sextupling, septupling, octupling down on Horizon as a franchise. They have Horizon, like probably another single player game in the works. They have the multiplayer game in the works. Like, they have this Lego game in the works. There's plenty of Horizon-y goodness if you are a Horizon fan. If you're someone like me and you're just kind of like, it's fine, then you're just going to probably get overwhelmed and burnt out. But they are definitely putting many eggs in the Horizon basket, and this is another one.
Yeah, they. I mean, did you see that Sony last week? They did like a Sony future of entertainment technology video,
Hmm.
and like a lot of people were like, "Whoa!" They showed a future PlayStation handheld, which was like a controller with a floating screen. Looked interesting. My takeaway was, "Whoa!" There's a lot of Horizon in this video, and the other franchise they used was Ghostbusters. So they're kind of putting it on the same level. Like we saw Tallnex running around, Thunderjaws and stuff. Like, I think what they see in Horizon is that it has a bigger mainstream appeal because, like a God of War, everything that Naughty Dog does, it's guns, it's like violence, it's blood. And Horizon is like fun for the whole family, right? So I think that that's
My
where,
I was just gonna say my impression of it is that Horizon as an art style, it's very unique. Like you see a Horizon Dino, and you know exactly what game it's from. You know it's Horizon. You just instantaneously understand that is a PlayStation exclusive game, Horizon. With like The Last of Us, if they put in that like put The Last of Us stuff into trailers and stuff, it's like it pretty much has to be a clicker. Otherwise, it just looks like standard post-apocalypse, right? And same with like God of War. Unless you see Kratos with the face paint,
yeah.
uh, it's like it just looks like standard fantasy, basically. So to me, it's just that it's one of the most visually unique and standout
And
brands that they have.
and it's not Aloy anymore because you did not see Aloy in those trailers. It's like the dinosaurs, and I think you can just go maybe way more directions with it. Like God of War is of course also based on mythologies, and Last of Us is like a post-apocalyptic realistic world. So maybe that's also what they're seeing. But I mean, a Lego game, that's what you make for a younger audience. Like they
Mm-hmm.
want to get those kids invested as well. You would
Joe
think,
Raptor confirmed
and
they want to get those kids. End quote.
they want to get them kids. Sony is like, how do we get those kids? That doesn't sound wrong at all. No, but I mean, the rumors are it's Forbidden West, but Legos, um, a pre-order trailer, and like the trademark was found by someone who's like digging up all those trademarks. Like it seems to be ready to be revealed. It will then likely come out this year. Like you want this game to be announced and then launch in September or something. Like don't make a big deal out of it. I don't know. I mean, it might be the first multiplayer Horizon game where you can like I don't know with Aloy and Farrell or other people like run around, punch some watchers, use your bow and arrow. I mean, it works pretty well with the parts, how you can like shoot them off and now they're Lego blocks. I
Yeah.
don't know, man. It could be interesting. Yeah, we will know
It's
about it soon.
it's either going to explode in popularity and then Horizon's just going to be like one of the next big things. It'll be like, oh, Horizon, like Fortnite. You know, it's going to be just massive, or people are just going to burn out on it really quickly. And I don't really know which is going to happen because they are doing a very diverse arrangement of projects. It's
Yeah.
not just like they're doing live service, single player, and then maybe co op. Like they're doing that stuff, but then they're also trying Lego stuff. There's, multimedia integrations, there's all sorts of things. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, I just hope that they don't lose track of what their core audience is because their core audience is like the 25 to 32 like older yeah, PlayStation 5 hardcore gamers. And I'm just really afraid that they are like so focused on making this game for everyone and that's what you already saw in Forbidden West. It has some pretty violent scenes and stuff, but it feels like they're kind of holding back in that regard. It would be way cooler if they went the Game of Thrones route in some sense because I think that would make the world feel way more realistic and way more like
Mhm.
the stakes are way higher. While it is like a pretty, I mean, you could go a Last of Us direction with the TV show in that world. Like you could go. I mean, these are people that don't know they're like stupid people. They have technology in a way, but have to live in a world with like robot dinos. It's like a war zone out there everywhere you go. Um, but yeah, in the game, it because you're Aloy, you're like this god. It doesn't feel like that. Um, but yeah, we will see. I'm curious about it. I am not really a big like Lego game fan, so maybe this will be the first Lego game I finish. I know a lot of people love those games. So yeah, I'm curious about it. We will probably see it soon. It's just sad. I'm just so curious about the online game, and it feels like it's getting pushed and pushed and pushed while we're getting something that nobody asked for. But
Yeah, and
we
I
will
mean,
see.
speaking of that, there's, very likely Astrobot game, Until Dawn remake, Concord, Lego Adventures, Horizon Adventures. There's also, of course, the looming thing, like you said, the Horizon multiplayer game, which we know they've been working on for years and years and years.
Yeah, 6 years and 4 months is the game director now at Guerrilla. On his LinkedIn, it says 6 years, 4 months on the online game.
That's crazy.
Insane.
Like that's a lot.
It's
Especially it's
like
a pretty
gonna
big
get
team, right? How big is the
Yeah,
team?
yeah. I mean, I do think that's like some people from Forbidden West moved over. So obviously that game came out in 2022. So I think they really went maybe in big full production. It's probably a lot of iteration. I think that when Bungie came in, maybe a lot of things changed. So I do think they went through multiple iterations of that. But still, I mean, Zero Dawn, like Guerrilla moving from Killzone to an open world RPG, that took them 7 years. And that was also with a small team because they were doing Shadowfall first. So this feels like the same, probably longer development time than than Zero Dawn, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah. So expectations are certainly high, but we've talked about it before. I think if there is any, like, if this thing drops, if it is what the rumors say, which is like Monster Hunter but multiplayer in the Horizon universe, maybe with a Fortnite coat of paint, I just don't think that competes with Monster Hunter World at all, even though I do. Well, what I mean by that is I think or Wilds, yeah. I think they do get compared a lot if they release around the same time. And I think the Horizon game is just going to lose that because Monster Hunter fans are hardcore and they will stick to the franchise that they know and love. I don't think you're pulling a lot of newbies.
No, and that's why I think they have to go for narrative things. Like that's why I think they have to. I mean, and the thing is though, Wild seems to go in an open world direction as well. We don't know what that means. Does it still mean that you go from a hub to a bigger open zone and then like inside the zone can hunt multiple monsters and then decide to go back and not have to like focus on one contract? That would be pretty cool. But it seems that the Horizon multiplayer game, at least from the sort of things that we're seeing in terms of job listings and stuff, it seems to include like a full-on open world. So I think that could be like a cool way to diversify. Again, the art style is different. I'm still not a fan of that. But let's move on. I mean, we have the Zero Dawn remaster as well, of course, PS5,
which everyone's been asking for. So
yeah, no, I sometimes I boot up Zero Dawn and I'm like, this is the most ugly game ever. So I'm happy.
You booted up. Yuck. Gross.
And I want the 120 FPS. Like I can't play 60 FPS anymore. Come on.
It's 2024.
So yeah. No, but yeah, of course they removed Zero Dawn from PS Plus Extra. Why do that? It's your own game. Like that, it has to do with the remaster. Yeah. So probably
you're gonna resell it to you, and you're gonna like it.
Yep. I saw some people in the chat already say God of War Ragnarok PC version. That's heavily rumored as well. So those are the things that are probably going to be there no matter what. Now let's move on to some potential things. I put the Zero Dawn remaster as potential as well. I think it's like, yeah, I could see it go either way. All we know is that it was removed from PS Plus. That's very a good like hint, but yeah, we could.
I could also see them kind of shadow dropping it in like July or somewhere where it's slow and just not announce
it. Don't like Lego. Why don't you replay the old game?
Then Monster Hunter Wilds gets shown off. Maybe. I could see this happening. It's also Capcom is one of the.
It's gonna be at summer. I mean, they said it will be shown in the summer, so that's gonna be right now. And usually Capcom has. I mean, when was it revealed? Was it revealed at It was revealed at Game Awards. So it might be that Jeff has like the deal for the full year.
Yeah.
On the other hand, though, Monster Hunter had always more collabs. Like they even had like Horizon collabs with both the expansion and with World.
And The
So
Witcher. You remember the Witcher collab?
yeah,
That one
that
was
was
fun.
pretty cool. So I can see. I mean, Capcom is always at one of these Sony events, so I can see them like be, hey, there's no Resident Evil this year. Let's do Monster Hunter Wilds. I saw some people say Wonder Woman will never come out. I put it here as well. Like, I mean, Sony has been doing a lot of stuff. Like they had the Suicide Squad, famous Suicide Squad State of Play that cost to that delayed the game for a year.
So
Imagine if
bad.
they just imagine if they just launched it back then. I was really curious what
Dude,
the
I
game
would
would
pay
be like
so
then.
much money to know what the
To
game
play
looked
that
like back
version.
then. Like, if it was that bad that they
There
delayed
was
it
like
by like a year. Oh god. And what we got was already like it was either super broken or there was even less content, which is amazing to think
I
of.
can't imagine that. And I probably think that, I mean, I think the single player was probably still intact. It seems that they removed the gear score. They had like gear score in that game. Right now, though, if you of course find a weapon, you can just use it throughout the whole game. It's not like a great fix for it either, because I found like a great weapon when I was level 5 and I just used it throughout the whole game.
Yeah.
So I was like, why would I switch? Either way, of course, Warner now looking ahead, all we know, and that's an interesting position because they were at one point like, where are the games, right? We had Shadow of War and they had the Arkham VR game, and what happened to them? It was kind of quiet, and then they finally at these Evendome, I think in COVID 2020, they were like, yeah, we have Gotham Knights, we have Suicide Squad. And then, of course, at the PlayStation Showcase in 2020, we all saw Hogwarts Legacy. So they were like, oh, Warner Bros. Games is back. But now all those games are out, apart from Wonder Woman. And they launched Multiverses, of course, this week. So, yeah, it's Wonder Woman time, I feel. And I said it in my video as well. I don't think this game has a great shot in 2025. Like, I think it would be in their best interest to launch it this year. But
yeah, I mean, it's coming from Monolith. It's a very capable studio. We know that they're putting a Nemesis system into it. I love the Nemesis system personally. I think it's one of the few groundbreaking gameplay improvements that's been made, and it's been totally locked away since Shadow of War in 2017. So
yeah.
I'm hopeful. I'm optimistic, but I also feel like that would be a big enough deal that we probably would be hearing like rumblings if something were actually happening, you know?
I don't know. Yeah, it has been like, why do that trailer at the Game Awards 2021? I think feel like it's what it was. Wonder Woman game 2021. Yeah, revealed at the Game Awards in 2021 with that like the trailer that didn't say anything. That was like 2.5 years ago. I want to hold hope. I mean, Shadow of War launched in 2017. It launched the same freaking month as Assassin's Creed Origins.
Oh yeah, it did. Let that settle in. Isn't that crazy?
And they made Valhalla already, that team.
And Odyssey. Like Odyssey from Ubisoft as well.
Yeah.
Like, wow. Yeah, that's
crazy.
It's been a minute. So maybe we do see that. I don't know.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Of anybody they would partner with. I thought they partnered with Xbox for Shadow of War, but maybe I'm just misremembering that.
I think so too.
But
like
it's also
Xbox,
Warner.
Get a free loot box. Was that?
Yeah, half of one. Can't be too generous. But Warner Brothers has been close with Sony recently, of course, with Suicide Squad. So it could go either way, whether it's at Xbox or at PlayStation. I could see it go either way. Last Soul
I hope we see it. I have the some games from Asia, like Lost Soul Aside. Some people don't know it. It looked like a pretty fun DMC style game, kind of crazy, over the top platforming and stuff. Black Myth Wukong, of course, we had a trailer last week at the Wii Game event in China. It's still planned for August 20th, and you can't spend money on it yet, which is kind of weird. So like, I think Sony would be one of those people, like one of those teams to go and secure that maybe as like a sort of marketing, because that game is gonna be really huge if it delivers.
Yeah.
So we will see it at Summer Game Fest, maybe at the Jeff thing. That makes sense as well. But Summer Game Fest is the final time they can promote the game because it will be out before Gamescom,
Yeah.
August 20th. So and yeah, they of course had the VR game for Metro at the State of Play in January, and we know for the longest time that the Metro team is also doing a AAA game. Recently, Embracer said that next to Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 and Killing Floor, they have 3 other AAA games out before April 2025, and one of them has to be the new Metro game because we know for a long time that it's coming. It was Exodus, I think, was more an Xbox game, but again, they have the VR game on PlayStation. I can see them reveal it.
Yeah.
I think that would be a good one.
And we also know they're showing off VR games, so it could also be that they just show off the Metro VR game too. Like, they just
Yeah, and then be like, but there's more. I hope that they do that because it was kind of weird seeing the VR game only at the State of Play last time. Phantom Blade Zero, people maybe remember that. That was actually one of the cool reveals from the PlayStation Showcase last year. It was another, katana focused Sekiro style game, but with pretty crazy set pieces where you would like on the back of like a carriage with a horse like riding you. You were like kind of fighting people. It looks pretty cool. Hope we see that again. I put the Avatar DLC in here as well. They had the deal with Ubisoft. We know the expansions are coming in summer. I mean, it's a State of Play. Like, that's the State of Play level thing.
Yeah.
That's probably going to be there. So
then
maybe
that makes
we see
sense.
that. Yeah. And then Metal Gear Solid Delta, the 3 remake, of course. Yeah. I mean, Konami will do a Silent Hill broadcast after the State of Play. So that's where they will likely show the Silent Hill 2 remake. And I think Metal Gear Solid Delta was at an Xbox show as well last year. So they could save it for Xbox. But it should launch this year. So we will see it at one point. And I put the Marvel Spider-Man 2 DLC. That would be a fun announcement. Like, we talked about the Insomniac leak, of course, that happened at the end of last year. Very unfortunate for people at Insomniac. But yeah, it gave us a very interesting look inside the studio and what they were working on. And one of the things we saw there was that they were planning 3 pieces of DLC, a boss fight. I don't think it's going to be very big. It's probably going to be half an hour or something. But yeah, it's free, and it's going to be like a fun reason to boot up that game again. And the first boss that we should encounter is Beetle. And even during when the New Game Plus update released, they had the debug. I think you remember that, right? Maybe you heard about it. And if you would then go into the menu there, you would see that the Beetle questline was in the game already, but you could not access it. Like, they had the whole file list for it. So, and that was like the first time we saw it not or outside of the Insomniac leak. So that makes it all more likely. And it was planned for Q1, of course. Then they got hacked. So then they pushed all the New Game Plus update launch later as well. I think that would be like a cool shadow drop. Hey, we have free content for you. Play it today. That would be really cool. But maybe that is pushed, or maybe they're gonna bundle it, or maybe they change plans. But it should at least be coming. So that's exciting.
And then Bombshells would be cool, but likely not happening. God of War Atreus game would be great. I'm also gonna put in Bloodborne 2 would be great. Is that happening?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
No, but I mean, the Atreus game, I'm just fascinated by how they left that story in Ragnarok without spoiling too much. Like, and there were interviews with Eric Williams, the game director, where he was like, yeah, we were not gonna give him a sword and like cool weapons in Ragnarok because then you would not feel like he would evolve in the future. So, I mean, they clearly have a big plan for this series. And we know for Spider-Man, they're going to do a Venom-based game. Like, they're going to do a Miles Morales again, but based on Venom. We saw Miles Morales before that. Uncharted had a smaller game as well. Sony wants a way to release these games faster. And, I mean, they're going to leave the Norse Saga behind. It's likely the last time they can use these assets. They made Atreus playable. There is a moment in the game where you use a really cool power with Atreus for only 5 minutes. Like, it felt weird to only use that for 5 minutes. I think they're gonna reuse that maybe in the next mainline game, but it's gonna be weird having this next mainline game in a new setting, but then still having to finish this story with Atreus in the Norse saga. Like, I don't think that's gonna work. So my prediction has always been they're gonna do a Miles Morales Atreus game where he might be a bit older, cooler weapons, and
Yeah,
maybe we see Trude as well. She will join him. You can finally play with Mjolnir. I mean,
it just makes sense.
I I I, I think it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm of the same mind where, especially in the age of remakes, remasters, getting every last bit out of every asset, trying to lower costs, it just makes sense. And I would sell well. I mean, let's be honest, it would sell well. And I think it just makes sense for them to try to do
Yeah,
something like that.
and they of course did the Valhalla DLC for free last year, and that felt like kind of a ending for Kratos. And I think they also did that so that when they would announce the Atreus thing, yeah, it would not be like, yeah, okay, but where's Kratos? Like, you had your Kratos fill that was even free, and now we are going to try and sell you on the Atreus game. I think that's what they're gonna do, but we will see. Might not be at this. I mean, they could also show it at the September thing and then be like, and it's out in 2 months.
Yeah,
I mean, that could totally be a thing as well.
yeah. And I saw somebody mention in chat Marathon. I don't expect Marathon to be there. It's still a long ways off. I think if they were to show anything, it would just be another kind of cinematic trailer, and it wouldn't tell us much of anything. So I personally don't expect any Marathon stuff there. Yeah, PS5 Pro reveal showcase later on, saving some of the big bomb drops for that. I think it makes sense if you have, like, let's just say hypothetically they do have an Atreus game. You do have an early look at Naughty Dog's next game, or just, those bombshells. If you have those, it makes more sense to showcase it on the PS5 Pro showcase. Like, if you're going to try to sell the product that's probably going to be anywhere between 500 and 750 bucks, like,
yeah, 600 minimum, I think.
Yeah,
I think PS5 is still 500 at this moment, and they're not gonna drop price, I think, on that.
Yeah, especially in the age of the current CFO saying he needs to increase margins. I don't think this is the time like they would have done in years past where they release the PS5 Pro at 500 and then everything else gets a price cut. I don't think that's what they're going to do personally. I agree. I think that they're going to bring this out as a premium product, and I think it'll still sell well. I don't think they'll run into too many problems with it, but yeah, I agree. It's going to be a lot, but being a premium product, I think they need premium games to showcase it with. It doesn't make sense to be like, see, like Horizon Zero Dawn Remaster looks slightly better. If you zoom in at 10x, you can see the edges are
Ghost 2
sharper.
would be the perfect game to showcase it, and I think that's probably what they're gonna do. Death Stranding 2, of course, on the Decima engine will probably look amazing on that system as well. I mean, if you have
Yeah.
GTA at that event, that would of course be huge, but I don't think they will.
Yeah. So
Look at this screenshot from GTA.
yeah.
That's all they could get.
Just a
Like,
crayon
just a
drawing.
screenshot.
Yeah, this is a
Yeah.
crayon drawing of a picture that someone saw.
Yeah.
I think with like PS5 Pro reveal, like maybe August or September we get something like that.
Yeah. I mean, again, they did a September state of play last year, so it might be that they're like, oh, we're gonna switch it up this year. Instead of doing this showcase in May, we do the showcase in September because it makes more sense for us. I mean, this is also a hopeful thing. Like, that's the thing with PlayStation nowadays. They're like, our console is selling like crazy. Microsoft is figuring things out. We don't have to talk. People are buying our console anyways. Why would we really say more things like that? I mean, that's what Xbox is seeing. That because they talked a lot, people are now using their quotes against them. So maybe PlayStation's like, well, let's just keep rolling and announce games when. I mean, we're gonna see a lot of games at this state of play. The Astrobot game, the Lego Horizon game, that are likely gonna come out in a few months, and that's of course the new tactic. So why, announce it earlier? Why do that?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's very valid that sometimes you just shouldn't say anything. Maybe Hamilton had it right, or Aaron Burr, not Hamilton, because Hamilton was bad at it. Hamilton is Xbox and Sony is Aaron Burr. That's what it is. Okay, as for
I totally got that reference. I see EQ also say they will show a Destiny trailer DLC out next week. I agree, but on the other hand, I'm not sure if you followed the Destiny coverage. I think it's fun to. I sometimes watch some Destiny YouTubers, even though I don't play the game anymore. But they have been like dropping trailers left and right. Like you would think that launch trailer they dropped the other day would be perfect for the state of play. Like I totally think they're gonna do something, but do they have even more trailers? Probably.
Yeah. Yep. Well, it's probably gonna happen. Get a little peek.
Yeah.
Little something.
And let's go over some other things first, a bit faster, like Summer Game Fest predictions.
Yes.
So this is gonna be so of course we have the state of play tomorrow at the time of this recording, and then starting on June 7th is when Jeff Keighley will take the stage, and yeah, that's gonna be a show for every platform. Then on June 9th we have the Xbox show, which is gonna be like that's gonna be their showcase. That's gonna be exciting, and yeah, they've been really doing well with these showcases, even though the launches have not always been amazing. It's like interesting how they always seem to go into these showcases after just making a misstep, like after the bad news from them shutting down the studios. Last year it was the Redfall thing. So, but yeah, they will have a big show for sure. I mean, they still got a pretty big 2024. And then on June 10th, we have Ubisoft. And yeah, they have one game that they cannot put in their show anymore, Division Heartland. So how are they gonna fill that void?
Another Just Dance.
Yeah.
That's what. Yeah, as for
bring out the panda.
Bring out the panda. Yeah, we'll get the Masked Singer kind of thing. We'll bring out celebrities
I hope they do
wearing
like
costumes.
the Skull and Bones song again. Like even though like remember the Skull and Bones, it launched in last month. We just dropped season 2. Luke did not like it. I think that's pretty good.
I would. You know what? I would cheer if I was in the audience. I'd be the one guy. Woo! Yeah. Get it, guys. Yeah, I mean, as for official partners for SGF specifically, they've got some big names. Of course, they've got Capcom. We mentioned Monster Hunter Wilds earlier.
Yeah.
They've got Ubisoft. So we probably see, like they've done in the past, where they do a trailer for, like, say, the next Assassin's Creed game. And then they say, for the gameplay reveal, watch Ubisoft Forward or something like that.
I mean, that's also like the wild card. Like last year, Mirage had the gameplay trailer at the showcase from PlayStation. Like that would be wild to have it at State of Play. But I think it's gonna be maybe at Xbox, and then the day after they're like, want to see more. Although some people are saying like Outlaws was last year at the Xbox event. That gameplay was at the Xbox thing.
Yeah.
Or no, the reveal, like the cinematic reveal. So maybe they will do Outlaws again. I don't know.
Yeah, but they also have Warner Brothers as an official partner, so that's one of the reasons why for SGF, that could be a place to reveal Wonder Woman out of.
Yeah, I mean, what else do they have? Maybe, I mean, Mortal Kombat. The Homelander trailer is out. Like unless they're gonna show like the new characters for that, that could of course be it.
They have that
VR
Arkham game they just announced, but that's a long way off. I think
that's more Oculus though, right?
Yeah, but it's still Warner Brothers.
Oculus is not on this list, so
yeah, I guess if they
they already said that they're gonna be there. You're right.
Yeah, and Meta, I guess Meta's here, which is the parent company. Beyond that, like EA is gonna be there. Bandai Namco. So some people are expecting maybe another trailer for the Elden Ring DLC. Could be the case. I think most people are already convinced they need to buy it. So I mean, it's like nice to have, but not necessary.
That's just a reminder. Maybe, I mean, Jeff would totally say yes to anything Elden Ring, of course.
Yeah.
So, but you're going over EA. Like I think the one you put here is very interesting. The new Hazelight game, like the ones that it Takes Two developers, of course. Like It Takes Two launched in 2021. And that I think they made that in 3 years. So yeah, it feels like it's time for them. If they're, I mean, we know EA has a partner title in early 2025. That would be perfect, right, for them to have an extra year. But I could see that also be a Game Awards thing, right? I mean, he loves Game Awards. Announce it there, have it out in a few months.
Yeah.
I think that's more likely. We did already know, though, they already confirmed that Dragon Age Dreadwolf this summer. Like, that's
Yeah.
gonna be a fun one to
Almost
see
certainly
finally.
we'll get Dragon Age Dreadwolf. I don't know if we'll see like trailers or if they're going to do like lots of gameplay. I think we're close enough because it's supposed to be
They
at the end of
have
this
to.
year. It's got to be a pretty big reveal.
Yeah, yeah,
Pretty extensive. So
for sure.
that'll be cool to see. My wife is a giga fan of Dragon Age, so she's got like the whole list.
We're gonna
of
have her
things she
on the
needs.
podcast for the real
Yeah,
fan.
yeah, we're gonna bring
That
it
might
because
be
I
fun,
I
yeah.
told you straight up. I was like, if I get the chance to play it early, or if I get the chance to talk to devs, I need your inside questions
Yeah.
on what we need to do and what needs to happen because they'll fill us in. And of course, the most exciting group that's going to be there,
Oh wait.
Netflix Games.
Oh,
What is that
I hope
about?
they bring another GTA port over there. You know.
Yeah,
Or
that's
maybe Angry Birds. They got the Angry Birds license.
cut the rope, like the oldest
the
of the
rope.
old Doodle Jump. I think was one of the other old ones.
Oh no, they got Subway Surf too, I think.
Yeah, that or oh geez, what was that one? The Temple Run.
Temple Run.
Temple Run.
They even made an Uncharted version of that. Do you know that?
No, I didn't know that. That's
They did
amazing,
an Uncharted Temple Run.
dude. Those old school mobile games were goated. Now it's all just
Yeah.
super toxic, but those old school ones, those are fun.
Yeah. I mean, but Subway Surf is still like one of the biggest games I think out there. I'm not sure. It will probably be completely different than when I played it back then. But
Yeah, now it's just you gotta
I like
Subway
the-
Surf
well-
to the gotcha draw at the,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
vending
yeah.
machine and okay, but as for predictions, individual predictions, Ubisoft, you wrote down Splinter Cell remake.
Oh, yeah, of course we know Ubisoft will have Assassin's Creed Shadows. Like that will carry their show, the gameplay reveal. And of course Outlaws. I think it will be very important to see that game again and hopefully get a very good idea of what that is, with the story trailer not really doing it for a lot of people. A lot of people were like, what the heck is up with the Java mission? So they gotta convince us again and make sure, hey, it's gonna be a good game. But I listened to the investor call, of course, and they asked, is Outlaws and Shadows all the games you have for this financial year, so ending March 2025? And they're like, this is all we're announcing right now. I mean, Splinter Cell remake started after Far Cry 6 at the end of 2021, and that would be 3 years like more than 3 years in early 2025. I don't think you want to work that long on a remake, and I just feel like it's perfect for now because next year they have Ghost Recon, Far Cry, Assassin's Creed the multiplayer game, maybe a Prince of Persia remake finally. Like they got like a stacked period already with a ton of Tom Clancy things. I think the Splinter Cell remake would be perfect in that early January Dead Space window, right? So I really think, and that's what Ubisoft usually has, and I hope they don't step away from that. They always have this, we have one extra thing that you did not expect, and I think finally showing that Splinter Cell remake, and it looks hopefully very good, and then, launching it earlier than everyone expected. I mean, the Ubisoft Toronto, that is, again, a lead team on Far Cry 6, they changed their banner recently to the goggles, so they're preparing something. I really think it would make sense to see that finally.
Yeah, I think that checks out too. As for any other big bomb drops, I think Ubisoft has pretty much shown their hand pretty well.
Yeah,
So
they won't have anyone. I see some people speculate Far Cry 7. No.
I think if they did that, it would take away from the other stuff that's more
Yeah,
pressing.
why do that? If like a new Life is Strange is seemingly coming, the Deck 9, the article was not great, giving us an insight into that studio where, they got like a lot of internal conflict. But in that article, we did learn that the new game was supposed to be announced very soon. So this is the team that did Before the Storm and the True Colors game.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 4 from Square. I mean, last year they did the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth trailer at the end of Jeff's thing. Maybe they're gonna do Kingdom Hearts 4 now. That's like seemingly coming soon as well. And I don't think that game would be like nice at a state of play. You want to reach a new audience, So get it in front of the more mainstream people, I
Yeah,
think.
Square has got to start going more mainstream, as they've said, like they don't want to do the exclusivity stuff anymore. They want to go multi-platform across the board, and hopefully that works out better for them, because they have had a rough go of it recently, especially compared to like
Yeah.
Capcom, which we were just reading on stream earlier today. They've had 7 years straight of record-breaking profits, and then Square over there is like drowning and trying to figure out what the hell is going on. So like maybe
Yeah,
NFTs will work, and it's just it's all sad.
For Don, by the way, is saying Netflix is the Rebel Moon game. That makes sense, but why?
Just why?
Just why? That's all I have to say. I think people say Mafia 4.
Yep, we do have that on the list down here, so we'll get to that in just a second if we just run through the rest of this.
Yeah, sure.
We touched on most of this. Monster Hunter Wilds will be there. Dragon Age will be there. Hazelight, maybe. I think it times out well, but it could be later at Game Awards.
Yeah,
That would be fine.
Yeah.
Sure. Wonder Woman, it's
Again,
about
let's
time.
hope so. Yeah.
Fingers crossed.
And again, 2025 is like this game would really benefit from a 2024 window, I think.
I totally agree. Hogwarts Legacy, something we know there's a big summer update, and by big summer update,
big.
like big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's probably not gonna be big. I mean, they're already kind of warning us, like, don't expect a lot.
Yeah.
And that's not a good thing. But again, like, it just depends. Like, I mean, Warner again has nothing for the foreseeable future. Maybe they're like, hey, let's do a DLC for Hogwarts Legacy. That's gonna, I mean, do very, very well. But on the other hand, they could also be like,
I was just gonna say, the other thing we know that they're working on is that Quidditch champion.
Oh yeah.
Maybe we see finally a trailer for that thing.
Oh yeah. I mean, that could happen. I mean, yeah. It's not really.
I can't imagine a game like that takes that long to make. Especially they were already doing play tests and stuff. So
yeah, last year I think.
Yeah.
Right. It feels like last year. I'm not sure.
I think it was last year, because it was like I remember when I heard they were doing play tests, I was like, maybe they get this out by Christmas. So I thought maybe they were trying to get it out quicker, but maybe we finally get a trailer for that. I don't know.
Feels like something they should just put in the next whatever the next Hogwarts Legacy is. I feel.
My understanding was that it has a very different art style. It's like
Fortnite maybe mobile looking as well.
Yeah. So
I don't know. I think they showed the trailer already that showed like a way more like cartoony-esque art style.
Okay. So
again, Microsoft is gonna have a big show. Indiana Jones and Avowed previews should be up actually after the show. That's what Insider Gaming already reported. So people are gonna maybe get heads on with that. Avowed should be November, Indiana Jones December. I really want to see Fable, and I want to get the release date. Like, that also was a game that they announced in 2020 with, of course, that Frog trailer. Last year we finally saw, I mean, still a pretty weird trailer, but we saw like a very small piece of gameplay from the looks of it. We need to see more. I want to see like a 5-minute walkthrough kind of thing, and then hopefully a 2025 date. If we go another year with them giving this vague trailer and without a release year, I don't know, man. What is up with that?
Yeah, it's really hard to get excited about anything when they are so worried about screwing up because they're not confident in what they're doing. It's just like, can we really?
Yeah, or still far away, and that's like why. Like,
how?
That's what I liked about what Sony is doing. Like, we are now in a weird position with Sony where it's like, okay, we know Wolverine and Death Stranding 2, and that's about it. Like, from their big games that are coming. But for Xbox, all the launch window quote unquote games are still not out. Like, they showed Perfect Dark. I mean, we just got Hellblade. That was like the day 0 game that they showed.
I think they were so busy trying to generate hype and excitement for the Series X generation that they just showed everything way too early. And then when you combine that with the studios they bought, many of which who also revealed everything they were doing to make themselves more appealing to Microsoft as a buyer, like BGS, they announced Elder Scrolls 6 years ago. Like, and it's still a few years away. Like, that is crazy. And so they just they revealed too much. And I think we'll see the pendulum swing the other way, like Sony's doing, where they'll just stop announcing stuff too early. and they'll start announcing stuff when it's much closer to launch. Which brings us to these. I think Gears 6 is going to be shown there. That's been rumored super heavily.
Next year, probably launching.
Yep. State of Decay 3. This has been rumored a lot as well.
I mean, they've already announced it as well a very long time ago with like a CGI trailer.
Yeah. So hopefully we actually get a look at gameplay. I love the State of Decay games. I think they're really fun and novel. So I'm excited to see that. And people who have seen it say it looks significantly improved compared to the previous ones. So that's the hope.
Hope so.
Doom, Dark Ages, sort of a medieval spin on Doom.
Year Zero was the project name, Eternal, so that kind of gives you an idea as well. I mean, I loved Eternal and the first remake the reboot they did. So bring it on. And this should, by the way, be day one on PS5 as well.
Yeah, let that settle in.
That's crazy.
People are gonna freak. I was it Jez Corden? I forget who tweeted it, but they were like, the biggest question during the whole Microsoft showcase is going to be, okay, is this coming to PS5? Because a fair amount of it.
I hope they are clear, but they probably it's not gonna have the PS5 logo at the end of the trailer. But I think at the blog post will then say more consoles or something like. I don't know.
Coming to all platforms or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Contraband? ?
Yeah, that's the game from the Just Cause makers, but it has been it's like a heist game. I think it's kind of like a 30 years ago. It's like the setting. I'm not entirely sure. They did like a teaser trailer also in 2020, I think. And again, when did the last Just Cause come out? That's a long time ago. So yeah, they have been working on it for a very long time. And yeah, I mean, you can shout it out every year, right? Because again, it is in the pipeline, so hope we see it again. 2018 I mean, the Monolith is still beating them with the Shadow of War, but yeah.
Ugh. And then this one, Shattered Space DLC for Starfield. I think they have to show it. It's supposed to come out this year.
Yeah.
They've had like an update to add a map to levels, which was groundbreaking. And then they showed a couple of little hints and stuff. They said, we're working on the DLC super hard. It's going to be awesome. So I think we see that. That's going to be one of the big reveals for the fall. I mean, Xbox really does have a lot coming. So they have a chance to maybe turn around some of the negativity around the brand. And
yeah, it's gonna be Lego Horizon versus Indiana Jones, you know.
Let's see who wins. Yeah, so they got that. Konami, we kind of touched on this with the PlayStation stuff as well.
Silent Hill, Metal Gear Solid,
Amazon Games with Tomb Raider.
Yeah, they're there. I mean, what else? I mean, they have some like games that they're bringing over, like Blue Protocol and Throne of Liberty, I think it's called, like another like MMO type game. Could totally be just that, but it could also be the Tomb Raider game. We had rumors from a reliable movie leaker who was saying the open world stuff and that it's set in India. They're really going in a new direction, of course, made by Crystal Dynamics. I mean, they did, of course, Avengers, and then they still did support for that, but also already were working on this. So that is like almost 4 years ago. I don't think it will launch this year, but seeing it already would be cool, even if it's like a CGI trailer.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
just something. And then from 2K, potentially new Mafia. We know that they are expected to reveal something big. Like what was the exact verbiage? It was like one of our big franchises or something.
Yeah, most beloved, like one of the big and beloved franchises, something like that.
Yeah. So Mafia is a very safe bet. We know that Hangar 13's been working for a minute. And so we could totally see that. They've also had some social media posts that kind of suggested maybe this is what's going to happen. Other than that,
the other titles could be either Borderlands or BioShock. But there are now other rumors, like a Czech website who seemingly work together with some people who are now working at the Hangar 13, like they did like a documentary or something. They now say that they have sources saying that it's Mafia. And we also have the Kusaga, like a person who's like looking at the trademarks. They have been right about the Lego Horizon thing and a lot of things. and they already said a few weeks ago, hey, a Mafia thing is happening because 2K is toying around with the trademarks, as far as I'm seeing in the metadata. So
Yeah.
I think it's probably Mafia related, but that's where, I mean, it's still going to be far away. Like they started 2 years ago, I think, on it because they had a big game that they canceled.
Yeah, they might show something just to calm investors, be like, see, we have other big stuff other than just GTA 6 that we're working on. So maybe we'll get that. Some people in chat I see are saying Civilization 7, maybe.
I mean, they would not hide. They should know what they're doing.
I don't think I love Civ. I don't think you hype up Civ when there's other things like Mafia that could be mistaken.
Yeah, because then people, the majority will be disappointed. I think the people who are looking forward to Civ they don't need to be hyped like this. And then I think you can better on the Civ social media page be like, keep an eye also on Super Game Fest, right? Like,
yeah.
Now it's like on for everyone to see. So.
Yeah, BioShock would be interesting.
That's the game that is the furthest along. Borderlands is probably the furthest along. But like BioShock has been in development for way longer than the Mafia game, so it's kind of weird that they are going with Mafia. But maybe they're also like, yo, Hangar 13, you have not been doing a lot. I mean, they did the Top Spin game, like, right? They're a pretty big studio, but they've not like released a big AAA game since Mafia 3, and that was 2018 or something.
They had the definitive edition, which was basically just a full remake, like an actual remake. So that
2016
sort of
even
counted.
Mafia 3.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, but that's like a $30-$40 release, right?
Yes, I think it's maybe 50.
It's kind of like saying Rocksteady made another game after Batman Arkham Knight, and they did like the VR game. It's kind of on that scale.
It's like they sort of did stuff, but my understanding, I'd have to dig back into it because I did research into it a while ago. But I think Hangar 13 had a period of like mass layoffs, and then they rehired people and expanded in different ways, and so they've been through the ringer, and so I think that kind of explains why they've been largely AFK. But and then of course I think we probably see GTA 7. They're just gonna skip right over 6. Yeah, I think that's
yeah. They're like 2035. Here it is.
Yeah.
Be excited, please.
Yeah. Slevin Christian. I had never realized that. He said background of Luke and Jor is like yin and yang. I just realized my background is all like dark and moody and brooding, and then yours is all bright and colorful, and it does actually create an interesting contrast. So who knew? Yeah. There you go.
I did not think about that, but that's actually a good one.
Yeah. So very intentional, as you can tell, very intentional. With all this said, I think we are in for a treat tomorrow. I think we probably, again, healthy skepticism. Maybe we see some cool stuff. Probably a lot of VR stuff, some overly long reveals of like Concord and like live service games.
It will be stuff that we are expecting, and hopefully there's like one big third party like a Metro or something that will blow our socks off. That would be cool.
Yeah.
But I have, by the way, to round out the show, some good news and some bad news. And what do you want to hear first?
Give me the bad news.
We're at 4.9 stars. On Spotify.
Unbelievable.
We were at 5. Someone, you're watching or listening right now. You know who you are.
You know what you did.
This is bad karma for life.
You know what you did.
Bad karma for life.
Yeah.
How is that? I mean, we're working our ass off here.
You have destabilized the industry. Like now GTA 6 is going to flop. Was it worth it?
Yeah, it's going to be delayed indefinitely.
Yeah, was it worth it?
We just made that happen because someone out there gave us a 4-star.
Unbelievable.
We were at 5.
Still very positive. We appreciate that, but I mean, you know what you did. You know. Yeah.
So thanks to everyone. We love you who gave us the 5-star, because that's the good news. We're at 92 right now, and I remember like when I was discussing it, we're at like 50 reviews or something, and we're getting a lot of extra reviews. I'm talking about the Spotify reviews.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
So we're not gonna spend any more time on that person that has like bad karma for life. We're gonna focus on everyone who did give us the 5 stars. We like you. Because of you, GTA 5 will launch.
Yeah.
That other person
we'll allow it to release.
Yeah.
Can't guarantee quality or when, but
no. Like because of that other person, the new Black Ops game is also coming to Xbox One and PS4.
Yep.
That's what happened.
Yep.
Like,
That's why.
Phil Spencer was like, okay, now
I
have
called
to
him.
flip
Yeah,
him
when
up."
I found out
Yeah.
about the 4-star review, I called him and he's like, okay, well, I didn't want to have to do this, but now we do. So,
Yeah.
yeah, Terrence Howard gave you a 1 because it's an actual 5. Yeah, yeah. If you missed that, Joe Raptor, we did a whole segment on Terrence Howard, the actor, because he is a little bit of an eccentric individual who has created his own math system called Teriology, and
Wow.
he believes 1 × 1 = 2, and that he's created, it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing. If
Okay.
if you dared to dive down that tunnel,
This sounds like something I'm better off just skipping altogether.
save
Do
your
not
brain
mess with
cells.
anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But anyway, thank you everybody for watching and supporting the show. You guys are
Yeah, for sure.
outrageous. We love you dearly. You make our dreams a reality, and we are humbled by it every time we get to talk with all of you. So truly thank you. And thank you to
For
everybody
sure.
listening on the go through
Yeah.
Spotify. Thank you for all the reviews. That's all tremendous. Joe Raptor, do you have any parting wisdom, any parting thoughts for everybody?
Not really. Don't be like Luke. Don't play Skull and Bones and Suicide Squad.
Just don't do it.
Don't do it. Let him take the hit for you, and you watch the video for your pleasure, and that's where it should end. And apart from that, I mean, we got some fun weeks ahead. We will be back next week, of course, and then after that, we have to. I mean, yeah. I mean, we can. I mean, we'll have to see what the schedule is. But keep an eye out. Sorry that we weren't there last week. It was my fault. I was at a listening event for the new 21 Pilots album. It was pretty fun.
Joe Raptor's too
Like
popular. He's too damn popular. It's unacceptable. So
I
yeah,
saw the 4.9 stars. I was like, I can't. I'm
Gotta
only
go.
at the 5-star reviews.
yeah. So wouldn't that be so funny if the 4-star review made us like rage quit the podcast? That'd be so funny.
Yeah.
Anyway, but
We're
yeah,
starting a new podcast.
we're starting over. Yeah. Next couple weeks are going to be absolutely crazy, but I have a feeling we'll have plenty to talk about. And so the schedule may be a little bit in flux, but we will make it happen, and it will be wonderful. So
Yeah.
buckle up, buckle
And good luck with the storm out there.
Yeah, I can hear it like going crazy. So
Oh, really?
yeah, we'll go check.
Yes.
I'm glad the internet hasn't dropped out, because last time we had a big storm like this, I didn't have internet for 8 hours. Ugh, and it's 2024. What am I supposed to do? Read a book? Come on. So
What the heck? man.
anyway, much love, everyone.
Howard in the ice.
Much love, everyone.